What's up, guys? Carolina Jackpot coming at you. Memorial Day weekend 2021. I hope all you guys and gals are able to enjoy it this weekend. You know, if you're off this entire weekend and Monday, of course, be safe. Take care of yourself. If you drink, don't drive. Because remember, come Tuesday morning, life goes on. Anyway, looking at this 2021 season, some more. You know, we're just a few months away. And the ACC, is there a conference in college football that is more boring than the ACC year in, year out? And I'm not talking about the product on the field, because there are some good games. There's some good players. There's some entertaining matchups. And let's just face it, it's Power 5 college football. It's going to be good. I'm talking about the race. I'm talking about the chase. I'm talking about the jockeying for position. You just don't have it. There's not that. The conference has been a one-trick pony for at least the past 3 years. And when I say the past 3 years, I mean it's been 3 to 4 years that Clemson's just been that dominant. Prior to that, 2015 was the first year that they won the conference. Okay, you had 2015, 2016. Florida State was still kind of marginally decent. Even going into 2017, last night I, for some reason, watched probably the first 15 minutes of Alabama versus Florida State college football kickoff game from 2017, and I can't. It's only been since 2017. They were ranked number 3 going into that game preseason. You say who? Alabama? No, Florida State was. Alabama was ranked number 1. And it's crazy to think. It's not been that long ago. So it's been that long that they've been dominant. But since 2015, they've ran through the conference like shit through a screen fence. Is it going to come to an end anytime soon? Is their run of dominance going to finally end? Is someone else going to take ownership of that conference? Who's going to step up? Let's look at these teams. And Clemson heading into 2021, I mean, it looks just as strong as ever. Got another generational quarterback poised to take over as in the ukulele man. And yeah, I hate that damn term they call it, generational talent. But I mean, it's true in a way. Last year, Notre Dame kind of provided a challenge. I say they kind of did, because they're kind of a do-si-do member of the ACC. 1 foot out, 1 foot in. Are they there? Are they not? No, they're not a member of the ACC. Last year they were because of the COVID, which ended up working out pretty well for them and the other teams, to be honest, because it seemed like a lot of teams in the ACC had the coronavirus issues. My Gamecocks didn't have really a lot of coronavirus issues. They just had issues with piss poor coaching and piss poor play on the field. But anyway, that's another story for another day, and it's already been told, as a matter of fact. So Notre Dame, going into 2021, even if they were going to be a full ACC member again, they wouldn't provide a serious challenge. They've lost half their roster. I don't think they're going to be that good this year. Yeah, well, they recruit well, Carolina Jackpot, and they got a good coach. Okay, whatever. He got housed when they got to the ACC championship game, and then he got housed in the playoffs, which they even deserve to be in, by the way. But they did beat Clemson in the regular season, so they gave them that regular season loss. And the Tater Man doesn't want to admit it or not, it was a loss. And you know, on one hand, they sit there and they beat their chest about beep, we too deep, we've stacked up X number of 5 stars like cordwood over the past few years, yada, you can't touch our recruiting class and our culture, blah, blah, blah. But then they want to bitch and moan, say, well, we only lost because Trevor Lawrence had the COVID and he couldn't play, and we had some defensive starters out with injury. So it don't work both ways. You just got to admit, say, hey, we lost this game, move on. And ultimately they did. So Notre Dame was not a threat. Looking at North Carolina, is that a team that could actually seriously challenge over the long haul to be a legit contender to Clemson? I say no. Look, How long do you think Mack Brown sprinkled some magical fairy dust on that program? How long do you think that magical fairy dust is going to last? And how long do you think the sprinkler of the magical fairy dust is going to last there? I don't see that guy being there for much longer. Is he setting the program up for somebody else, though, for success? That's the thing. Or is it going to be a house of cards that falls apart when he leaves? I'm telling you, I don't see him being there past a couple more years. I just don't. I mean, he was really, and I'm not knocking him. I mean, but he was pretty old when he came back to the sideline 2 years ago, and you know, ain't went backwards in age. Okay, I mean, he's getting older. Eventually, he's going to be tired of it. And I'm thinking it's going to be sooner than later. Offensively, they're recruiting really good players right now. They got a generational type quarterback themselves there. It's in Sam Howell. Made his debut against the Gamecocks a couple of years ago. Looked good. His mama looked good too. They showed her more than they showed him in the game. But that being said, offensively, I think they'll be really good. They brought in Ty Chandler from Tennessee at running back, who is replacing a couple of guys they had there that had some really good numbers. But I mean, Ty Chandler didn't do a whole lot at Tennessee. I mean, he was just average, and he had some really good offensive lines that he was working behind. So you got to question that there. Receiver-wise, they'll be good. Defensively is my thing about North Carolina. They do have a good defensive coordinator in Jay Bateman, or is it Bay Jateman? I'm not sure. So he's the glue that's holding that thing together. They gave up 50-something points, almost 60 points last year to damn Wake Forest, just a shootout. And they've done this before on occasion. They're never going to be, in my opinion, solid enough defensively to seriously challenge. I mean, they're just not. That's the missing piece. If they can get that fixed and continue bringing in that type of offensive talent and keep the momentum going even after Mack packs it up, it could be. But I have doubts. I have concerns. Miami, on the flip side, here the defense really good. Offensively, I mean, it seems like they've kind of struggled. They've had some good skill position players that haven't been able to put it together. I just kind of question. I don't question whether they can bring in top-notch talent both from high school and from the transfer portal. They can. It's an attractive destination for a kid. Let's just be frank. It's just the coaching there. It's just, and they always just seem to be flushing turds, and then another turd pops up. I mean, they just can't get it right. So that's my thing with Miami. We'll see this year. Will De'Aaron King be healthy enough? I don't know. They may be a team. I mean, they made a one-year run a few years ago at Clemson, and it fizzled out, and then they got absolutely no momentum from it, or carried no momentum forward from it, we should say. Miami, another pretender that I'm just not in love with. Boston College. Here's a team. I like the coaching staff. I like what he's doing. Jeff Hafley, Ohio State defensive coordinator, former. He's got some decent players there too. I mean, defensively, Boston College is going to be solid, obviously. Offensively, I mean, can they continue? They made a lot of strides last year offensively. It seems like they've always had solid running backs, but other than that, it's piss poor passing game. Last year took a step forward with that. Notre Dame transfer Phil Jurkovich, big kid. I mean, he's back again. They're a team that could make a run. I don't know if they'll be able to sustain it, though. I just don't know if they'll be able to get the athletes to compete with Clemson at Boston College. Even if they have really, really solid coaching, I think the ceiling is only so high there. Louisville's a team that's going to bring in a lot of skilled talent. It's going to have a horrible defense. I don't like their coach. I think he's shady. I think he is a teller of lies. That being Scott Satterfield, who was a guy that was the coach at Appalachian State. And I was really in love with him as the coach at Appalachian State. And I had hoped that South Carolina would have interviewed him and it had fired Will Muschamp sooner than what they did. Turns out, after one season, 2 seasons at Louisville. In off season, back in early December, late November, he interviewed for the South Carolina job. The South Carolina Jet flew to Bowling Green, Kentucky, which is as a couple of hours away from Louisville. He flies to Bowling Green, Kentucky. So it pretty confirmed there that he interviewed with South Carolina. When he's questioned about it, though, after he signed a contract extension to stay with the Cardinals, which actually happened before that. I'm sorry, this was just a regular press conference that he was given. He said that, yeah, he had interviewed for that job, but he really only did it because South Carolina is close to where his parents live. So he did that to make them happy. Dude, you're full of shit. Okay, let's just say that. You're full of shit. I haven't interviewed for a job before because it's close to where my mama lives, and that I had no intention of taking. I just haven't. I mean, I don't think the human mind works that way. That seems like just a really bad lie. So I question. I question a lot about the program just because of that, just because of the head coach. But they will have good skill position talent at Louisville. Defensively, it's another team that's going to be a nightmare year in, year out. They've had they've had issues in the past there too with players, who maybe not of the best character, that type stuff. They're going to be able to overcome that kind of culture. I don't know. I don't know. They seemed poised a few years ago to be a team that could kind of make a run, but they had a horrible year last year. Horrible. And they've got to get things turned around there first before they can even think about contending for the ACC or making any moves forward. So they're out as far as I'm concerned. The Virginia schools, Virginia, they are what they are. Another team that could be solid. I don't think they're going to be able to recruit good enough to compete with the Clemson. I think Bronco Mendenhall is a solid coach. He's got some solid coaches there with him, but there's just a huge disparity in talent that I don't see getting made up anytime soon. I think Virginia Tech is actually a more attractive program for a kid, and has a better history. And Justin Fuente is a guy who I think can coach. I mean, he didn't forget how. Just he had some problems getting some good recruits up there. The Virginia Tech program, while attractive still, is a program. It's fallen by the wayside like the past, I'd say 12 years or so. Like the last 5 years or so of Frank Beamer, they were headed downhill. They were not what they were in the mid to late 90s and early 2000s. Can they get back? I don't know. Can Justin Fuente be the one to go back? I think Virginia Tech has the potential to get back. They got the facilities. They certainly have the tradition and the fan base, and they have the ability there to draw some kids in. But can they do it? Can they start doing it again? We'll see. They hadn't been playing good football the past few years, though. Where does that take us? Georgia Tech, trying to be an up-and-coming team. Jeff Collins, a guy I think is a good younger head coach, but I don't know. Seemed kind of like a little bit of a baby. Remember last year he got mad, yanked his hand away from the Pitt coach because he's pissed off because they lost. Dude, get over it. You got beat by 2 touchdowns. Okay, you got fucking housed. It's not like you lost by 1 point on some blown call or something. Just get over it. Okay, you lost. Suck it up. Move on. They're trying to get out of that Paul Johnson offense. It's taken a while. The thing was, the Paul Johnson offense worked for a long time. It did. It worked for a long time. Run effectively, it could still be effective. That didn't come out right. If it was done properly and executed, it could still be effective right now. It could, because it was hard for teams to defend. Yeah, they say, well, football's changed. But hell, he was running all over people as late as 2016. Stuff hasn't changed that much. It ain't changed that much since then. Okay, Kids might be a fraction of a second faster. Sometimes that fraction of a second is all you need to defensively. NC State, here's a team that, I mean, they're a little bit of fool's gold to me. They've had some good records in the past under Dave Doran. They've had some decent players there. They've had some pieces. They've never really been able to put it all together. They'll win 7-8 games, but then they'll go to a bowl game and get bludgeoned by a team that has a worse record than them. Case in point, last year, they lose to Kentucky, who had a losing record. If you're watching this video in a few years, yes, that's true. Kentucky did go to a bowl game in 2020 with a losing record. A lot of teams did because of the coronavirus. South Carolina was slated to go to a bowl game too. The Pirate Bowl, laughable as that was, but it didn't happen. I think it was canceled just due to lack of fucking interest, to be honest with you. But no, South Carolina, actually, they had COVID issues that just seemed to pop up when it was time for the bowl game, which wouldn't have been a good show in any way. I'm glad they didn't play it, in hindsight. Syracuse, don't even need to really be talked about. Dino Babers will probably be gone after this year, which is sad because he's a good coach, good motivator. It's just, yeah, I think the game's passed him by, and Syracuse is a tough place to recruit to also, just like Boston College. You got Pitt, a team that defensively has been good, offensively challenged. They've been an ACC championship game participant before. Was a no-show. I don't know. That's not one that's going to be a serious contender to Clemson at any point in time. Yeah, I know they slipped up and beat them a few years ago. I mean, they had to play out of their mind to do it, and they've come nowhere close since. Duke and Wake Forest also afterthoughts. Although Wake Forest, I think, has a solid coach, a solid program. Duke seems to be taking a few steps back. Who does that leave us with? We've talked about pretty much everybody, haven't we? We'll cut the video off. Did it go over? Yeah, I did. I think I mentioned everybody. Oh my God, I didn't. I forgot Florida State. Florida State has definitely won the transfer portal for 2021, in my opinion, with the addition of Mackenzie Milton at quarterback. Now, is this kid going to be able to elevate his game to the 2017-2018 level? I don't know. It's been a while since he's played. He had a nasty knee injury. That was at the end of the 2018 season, wasn't it? I mean, he hadn't been on the field in a long time. Is he going to be a difference maker? I don't know. They picked up a couple kids from South Carolina in the transfer portal. I think Mike Norvell is going to have the easiest place to recruit to other than Clemson, just simply because of the tradition, simply because of it's a destination, and it's been recent tradition too at Florida State. It's not been that long since they were a really good program. Can he get it back there? I think it possibly could, and a lot of people, they don't want to hear that. They'll think this is laughable, it's crazy. But I mean, if you just look at it, not with orange tater shades on or with shades of another team on, they have the tools there. And he's a good young head coach. He's got some good assistants working under him there. He's going to be able to bring some recruits in. If they can turn those high 3 and 4 stars into some 4 stars, and then more and more 5 stars every year, start getting 3 or 4 of them every year on those recruiting classes, like the Taters have done, look out. Because, I mean, I'm telling you, the Florida State football is not dead, folks. It's not dead. I saw some signs of life at the end of the season last year. The Duke game in particular, and you say, well, it's Duke, Carolina jackpot. I mean, they were, I think, either a 3-point underdog or a 3-point favorite in that game. I remember it because I was looking at the line, and a lot of us had taken Duke to cover. No, I mean, they went in there. It was a close game for about a quarter and a half, and then they absolutely laid the smackdown on Duke. They beat the hell out of them for 2.5 quarters. I mean, and it looked like the Florida State Bowl. You saw some flashes last year. They beat North Carolina last year. I mean, and North Carolina was highly thought of. I think that is the serious contender. Maybe not in 2021. That is the team that I feel like could overtake the Taters at some point, possibly at the top of that conference, or at least we could see a battle. We can at least see a battle, see something interesting. Because right now, what we're seeing, it's not interesting. Anyway, guys, that's about all I got to say about that. If you disagree with me, feel free to comment down in the comment section below. We'll argue about it all day long. I really have nothing else to do except go over here and hook up this little pressure washer I bought and see if I can clean some of the mold off my house before the HOA starts sending me dirty letters and people start talking about it on Facebook. I'll see y'all later. Peace. I'm out. Go Gamecocks and go Coach Beamer. Oh, woo! It's a great day. Be a big old cock. See y'all later.